Day 1. This will be my journal detailing my recovery from the death of my wife, Wendy. Dr. Young insisted that I do this and that it would be helpful. Maybe I'll publish this online someday. This is my first day, so pardon me if this rambles on and on. First, I'd like to state, do you know what the hardest part was? Packing away all of her things, going through all the memories, trying not to cry and failing, while stuffing them into cardboard boxes to put in the attic for God knows how long. I recall thinking, I'm packing away Wendy into these little boxes and breaking down in tears. When Wendy died, so did my happiness. Finding random items in the closet, like the teddy bear I won for her on our first date at the carnival in 2005. She was so happy then. Giggling, she said,
"I've never won anything before."
And I replied, "Well, it's yours then." She hugged me tight, and we were inseparable from that point on. I can smile now, but then, as I put away all of her memories, I just cried like a baby, my chin wrinkling, my eyes contorting. You know, that ugly crying. Crying is not my thing, but sometimes I just let it flow. I sat there on the floor of our room, holding our wedding photo, crying so hard I couldn't see. My eyes hurt, a migraine was forming, but it just wouldn't stop. It had been 8 days since the funeral, and my brother, Matt, talked me into starting the process.
Sean, you have to do it sometime. You can't just sulk the rest of your life. Wendy loved you, and you loved her. That will never change. It's a terrible truth, but you have to untangle the vines.
I know, Matt. It's just hard. My tears were streaming down the face of the iPhone, but I couldn't care less.
It'll be fine. Stay strong. I'm always here if you need to talk. Hell, I'm 5 minutes away. I'll come over and we can have a beer.
Thanks, bro. I'm glad I have you around, I said as I nursed a glass of whiskey. There's a certain kind of pain that comes with loss. The pain that never goes away. It lingers and persists, always lurking in the back of your mind. The only thing that helped was the whiskey. It at least numbed the pain some. I know it's not the healthiest cure, but hey man, I was desperate. After I hung up with Matt, I kept packing. I tossed back the rest of the whiskey, felt the soothing burn go all the way down to my empty stomach. And as I ripped some more tape off the roll, I heard a knocking at the door. I assumed it was Matt, so I took my time answering it. Then I realized it wasn't coming from the front door. The knocking was coming from the other side of the bedroom door.
"Sean?"
My body froze. My heart felt like it dropped into my stomach. It was Wendy. That was Wendy's voice. Who? What? How? My brain thought. I scored through all the possibilities, like maybe I was imagining it, or my brain was translating a squeak from the house settling as her talking. Maybe it was even possible I was going insane from all of this.
"Let me in, hon. I've come home. Your wife is home. I've come back for you, dear. Just like you wanted."
It was none of that. That was her voice. Come back for me?
"Yes, baby. I'm going to take you with me. We are going to start all over again, like this never happened."
She sounded eager and excited about this, like she had the best news of my life. The whiskey wasn't helping, so I decided I needed to drink more, this time straight from the bottle. After a hearty gulp, I replied, very much beginning to fear something else was going on. I don't want to die, Wendy. I'm not ready.
But you said you couldn't live without me, right?
I knew she was trying to get into my head. She was always good at that, almost expert level, always playing those guilt trips and such. Matt had warned me for years that she was playing me, but I never saw it that way. Even when I discovered she had cheated, I found it easy to forgive her. I must have been a gullible fool, right? By the end, though, I could see through her, and I was preparing to leave her for good. I also said, till death do us part, and I sure did.
Quiet, Sean. Now listen. I know you blame yourself for what happened, but it wasn't your fault.
I hated that tone she was using. Nobody used that tone except Wendy or my mother, and only when they were angry or being condescending. It is, and I know it is, Wendy.
Look, the elevator was broken. I was in a rush because we had reservations at that fancy Italian place. What was the name? Definitely Tony's or something. Anyway, I fell, baby. I fell down the steps because I was rushing. I broke my neck on the way down. It's not your fault.
I filled my glass with more whiskey, wishing I had some ice, tossing back some of it. It is. I accept that. Drinking some more. I'm not going to fall for your lies again, Wendy.
Oh, shut up, Sean. You were always so whiny and self-loathing. Look at you, drinking away your pain. Pathetic. I almost don't want to take you with me.
I don't want to go. I'm going to stay right here. In fact, I'm glad you're gone. All you did was yell at me and fuck other men. Go away!
Please open the door, Sean. I'm sorry for all of that. I just want to hold you again. I need to. We can make it work this time. It'll be just like the good old days.
My anger from remembering all the deception I had fallen for began to subside. My loneliness and sadness from losing my wife overwhelmed me, almost as if something else was controlling me. My arm as I opened the door, and I wish I hadn't. What I saw was this graying, rotted thing with a crooked neck that used to be my wife. Her lips were still that ugly, painted red the funeral home drew on her, along with the bad makeup.
Hug me, baby.
That was when I fainted. Day 2. It's true that I've never been the toughest person on earth, but I think the sight of what my wife had become would take down the strongest person. When I did wake up, the bottle of whiskey was on the floor next to me, the contents spilled across the carpet. My cat Milo was prancing around the room, inspecting last night's events. Yeah, I know, Milo. Another rough night. I know. You don't have to nag, I said while trying to soak up the alcohol with an old shirt I left on the floor. Depression does odd things to you, like not bathing for days, not cleaning up after yourself, and leaving dirty clothes on random places and forgetting to eat. Fortunately for me, it can also make you drink. My phone said it was 3 in the afternoon by the time I was done. Work had given me 2 weeks of paid to recuperate, and so thank God for that. I had 35 texts and 15 phone calls waiting for me as well. All my family was checking on me. I replied to all of them with, "I'm fine, everything's good here, not dead." It's funny now that I chose to say that, not dead. Wendy surely wasn't. She was coming after me, like a hungry dog after fresh meat. I'm not even sure that it is Wendy. Something just didn't seem right about her. The hangover was ripe by then as well. I walked into the kitchen, holding my head and groaning. The dull throb was pounding 1,000 nails into my head every second that ticked away. As I was digging through the medicine cabinet for a bottle of Excedrin, I got a text from Matt. The letters were a bit distorted, and the room danced before me as I read it.
Coming over after work tonight. Probably around 7. I'll bring the booze.
I wanted to reply with, "Great, more booze. Exactly what I need. Thanks, bro." But I resisted. Instead, I sent, "See you then." I checked Facebook while I sipped on some coffee that I had brewed. I hadn't posted a single thing about Wendy, yet I had so many fucking sending prayers posts on my wall that I wanted to puke and could have easily considering everything. I thought, pray to who? The person who allowed this? The person who allowed me to be with such a terrible person for so many years?
Baby?
I looked around and saw no one. But I knew without a doubt that was Wendy's voice.
Baby, he's gonna find out.
Find out what? I said out loud to the disembodied voice. That's totally sane, right?
Find out that I'm back. They'll make me leave. I can't stay if they find me, Sean.
I didn't know that you were staying.
I am, until I convince you to go with me.
I'm not going.
Go upstairs. I'm bathing. It's nice and hot. Come join me.
I hate to admit it, but my curiosity was piqued. I didn't really want to see my dead wife bathing, but something in me just couldn't resist. Slowly opening the door, I looked inside. If I saw that gray thing in my bathtub, I was calling an exorcist, or find a way to get in contact with one.
I know that my previous appearance scared you, so is this better?
She was 19 again. She had her long, red hair. Those big, perky breasts were barely under the water. Her long, pale legs stretched to where her feet rested by the faucet, teasing me with what was under the water. All of it was enticing me to join. Wendy.
Sean, come in. The water is still nice and hot.
You hate how I like my baths.
I'll do anything for you now, baby. Anything, you name it. I wasn't the best wife before, but now I will be. Second chances, right?
Yeah, second chance is all right. I took my clothes off and climbed in. She pounced on me as soon as my butt touched the water. Her tongue slipped into my mouth. It was warm, viscous, not rotten like I had feared. I grabbed her thick breasts and found them firm. It didn't take long for my manhood to rouse. We had amazing sex in the bathtub. Afterwards, I was practically hypnotized. Could I somehow have been?
You can keep me here.
She said, stroking my hair as I rested my head on her chest.
I can be your secret, and we can fuck like this every night if you want. I'll do whatever you want. You can even come in my mouth.
I thought you hated that. Doesn't that make you sick?
Anything for you, Sean. We can even try anal.
She said as she teased me by running her fingers under my chin.
Your brother will be here in a few hours. Just don't let Matt find out. I don't want to leave you again, Sean. Don't you want me to stay so you can have me whenever you want?
Yes.
There's only one way to make sure I'm never found, Sean. You'll have to kill him. Matt can't see me, Sean. Kill him. I don't care how, but kill him. Then I can stay as long as you want.
Whoa, wait a second. I tried to counter, but she planted those soft, pouty lips on mine.
Do as I say.
She said, we made love again. Matt's car pulled in just as I was pulling out. The only way I can describe it is that I lost control of my body. My hands and legs moved without wanting to. It was like riding in the passenger seat of a car driven by a maniac. I watched on as I grabbed a hammer from the utility closet, stuffed it into the back of my jeans, and waited by the front door for Matt.
Hey bro, got your favorite. Wild turkey season is here.
He said, laughing, as I let him in. Awesome. Exactly what I needed. Just put it in the kitchen. I'll be there in a second. He was shuffling through the bag to take all the stuff out when I slammed the claw end of the 16-ounce hammer into the back of his head with a sickening, wet, gushing sound. The claw bit into his skull like it was a watermelon. He hit the floor and started seizing, and my foot went down on his throat to hold him still. He flopped around on the floor for a few minutes, his eyes rolling back and forth in his head, his teeth clenched down on his tongue so hard that it was nearly bitten off. Blood spewed out of his mouth in fountains as his body tried to breathe while he slowly suffocated to death. Eventually, he stopped moving, and I blacked out of consciousness. Day 3. I woke up the next morning in my bed, not remembering any of the previous night. I walked into the kitchen to find Matt's corpse laying on the floor in a massive pool of blood and a broken claw hammer implanted claw first in the center of the gash. I fell to my knees and cried. Why did I do this? Why?
You did a good job, baby. Good job, my precious, amazing, devoted husband. I'm so happy. Now we can be together forever.
She spoke inside my head. No! I screamed out loud. I don't want to be with you forever. I don't want my brother dead. I don't want a corpse for a wife. Go away.
No, Sean. You see, I can't go away.
She said, now walking around the corner from the living room and into the kitchen. She was still 19 and naked.
I can't go without you, Sean. I have to take you with me, but I can't force you. You have to do it on your own, and I won't leave until I get what I want.
No! Go away! I screamed as I threw random objects at her. Nothing seemed to faze her. Even when the toaster connected directly with her collarbone, she just stood there, grinning menacingly.
You're coming with me, Sean.
She was slowly walking towards me, walking through Matt's blood. She bent down, wiping some of the blood up with her index finger. She licked it off seductively, taking an exceedingly long time for her tongue to move down her finger.
It's so tasty. The blood of an innocent. It's enough to make me.
She moaned.
Don't you want me to keep this body forever, Sean?
She backed me into the corner of the counters. I slumped down to the floor, pointing the steak knife at her that I snatched from the drawer. I thought you were dead. You were supposed to be dead. Why did you come back? Why? I was crying by then. Fear does that to you.
Because, Sean, I need you. I need you.
I blacked out again, waking up days later in a hospital bed with my arms handcuffed to the bed. I found out later that I was going to be arrested for the murder of my brother after the hospital released me. I told them my story. I told them every part of it, even about my dead wife coming back from the grave and how I fucked her in the bathtub. The jury didn't take long to decide that I was insane, and the judge agreed. A psychiatrist analyzed me during the trial and said that I had developed many psychotic delusions. They don't believe me. No one does. I am trapped in this asylum for the remainder of my life. They allowed me to write sometimes because they decided I was safe enough for writing implements. Well, only markers. Every day, I can hear her calling for me.
Sean, come with me, baby. Come be with me forever.
It's always fucking there in my head. Sometimes I even see her standing outside the windows, completely nude and watching me, always smiling and waving at me to come to her. It's hard to ignore that and not let it bother you, but the meds do help with that. I've concluded that my only escape is suicide. This is the only way that Wendy can take me with her. Either that, or I die from old age. I can't imagine having to see and hear her for that many years. I'm only 35 now. How many years do I have left? 30? 40? Maybe 50? I've thought about all of this, played with the options in my mind for countless hours. I could break a mirror and jam the shards into my wrist over and over until I hit an artery and hopefully bleed to death before an orderly can get to me. Or I could sit by and wait for Father Time to age me and the Grim Reaper to find me. I don't want to die though, because I have a feeling that where she is taking me won't be a good place. Matt, I'm so sorry for what happened. I'm so sorry. I would have never killed Matt. It was Wendy. She made me do it. Her sex somehow let her control me, and she treated me like a murderous puppet. In the end, that's all I ever was to her. A plaything. Matt, I hope you can forgive me for never listening to you as well. Right now, though, I'm afraid that I'll have to do what must be done.